שלום לכולם, כאן לי פוליטיקלי עם יונתן ואור. שלום.
שלום.
אתה מעדיף באנגלית?
בוא נתחיל עם העברית, ואם זה קשה אז באנגלית.
אז אני טוען שלעם ישראל יש ביד פצע. הפצע הזה מזוהם, אוקיי? אינפקטד.
כן.
צריך לפתוח אותו שנייה, להוציא את כל החרא, למרוח יוד, לשים תחבושת, הכל ייפטר. כלומר, הפחד לנהל דיון ענייני ורציני על מה יהיה פה עוד 5, 10 ו-20 שנה ועל הדינמיקה בין כל הפלגים של העם, הוא גורם לשיח להיות רדוד ומיותר ולא להתעסק במהות חיינו. הפחד הזה הוא שורש כל הרע של מה שקורה, והוא גם גרם למה שקורה פה.
נכון.
אוקיי? עכשיו, כתוצאה מהדבר הזה, אנחנו מתעסקים בכל מיני שטויות, כמו למשל עילת הסבירות, הרפורמה המשפטית והשחיתות, לעומת דברים מהותיים. ומה זה דברים מהותיים? הטרור, יוקר המחיה, הכלכלה, הבריאות, הפקקים וכן הלאה. ואני אומר, עם ישראל צריך להתאחד סביב העתיד של הילדים שלו וסביב העתיד של המדינה שלו, שזה המכנה המשותף הכי גבוה.
אז אני מסכים.
במקום המחלוקת והמריבה.
כן.
מה דעתך?
אז אני מסכים עם כמה דברים. זה שאנחנו מתייחסים קצת יותר מדי בדברים שלא לטובנו בעתיד. דברים קטנים ממש, כמו על הדת ועל דברים לביגי מה שביבי רוצה והדתיות, דברים כאלה. אני מסכים שזה לא הדבר הכי חשוב, אבל...
אני יכול להפריע לך לשנייה?
כן, בוודאי.
שגם כשמתעסקים בדת, אז מה אומרים? לא באים ואומרים אנחנו רק רוצים חופש ושוויון זכויות, ולא באים ואומרים לכל ילד מבני ברק מגיעה הזדמנות שווה לילד מרמת אביב. באים ואומרים הם פרזיטים והם זה ולא לתפילין וכן הלאה, ואז נוצר ויכוח. עכשיו הוויכוח הזה אין לו שום השפעה על חיינו.
נכון. אז קשה לי להגיד דברים נכונים, כי אני בא מפרספקטיבה מארצות הברית. אז בשבילי איך אני רואה מה שקורה פה במדינה, זה כאילו מה שקרה עם טראמפ, שכולם פתאום שונאים את אחד השני, מה אתה לא ביד טראמפ, עוף עליך, במקום שיהיה דיאלוג, שיהיה... בוא לפה.
לא, בסדר, תן לו לשחק. זה כל הרעיון של הוידאוים האלה, זה שהם אמיתיים.
כן. יש פחד מהסקיוריטי, מה הולך לקרות במדינה הזאת, בכל המדינות שסביבנו, באנשים שגרים בתוך המדינה, שרוצים להפוך את זה למשהו אחר. כל הפחד הזה זה הופך לשנאה, כי שנאה זה יותר קל מאשר עם אהבה ולנסות להבין את אחד השני. אז זה מתפתח ככה בין ביבי והדתיים וכולם פה בתל אביב וקצת יותר הרפורמים. אז מה שאני מסכים זה צריכים להבין שכולם פוחדים, כולם באופן כללי רוצים security, רוצים שהילדים שלהם יהיו שמחים ויגדלו יד ביד. סליחה, אני אגיד באנגלית. That there's an economy in the situation in which people are choosing whether to worry about the current future and the needs that they have for now versus what it is that they need in the future. They're scared now, so they're going to go towards voting for people that are going to solve the issues that are presented at the current moment. But because of that, they're turning a blind eye to the repercussions of what would be caused in the future. So for here, if people want to establish more religious dogma, etc., it's good for the time being for them in some cases, but in others it may open the doors for more political action that may deem, I would say, a little bit extreme.
I'll tell you exactly, you just touched the very point that is the biggest strategic mistake for Netanyahu.
Yeah.
What do I mean? In Israel right now, there is many problems that it would take years to solve. It wouldn't take 2 days. You know, tomorrow everything would still be expensive. It doesn't matter, regardless. If the prime minister is different, if the economic minister is different, the minister of treasury is different, and נגיד בנק ישראל, I don't know, the head of the Israeli bank.
אם זה יותר קל בעברית, אז תגיד, אני
לא, אם אתה רוצה באנגלית אז בכיף, גם טוב לחדד את זה אחרי הרבה זמן שלא דיברתי. Now, the public, they expect that everything will be solved in 2 seconds. They expect that, you know, today it's expensive and tomorrow everything is good. There is no traffic jams, there is no high prices, there would be no... לא לגעת, חמוד.
בוא.
Okay? And the reality is, we need to give the governments the airtime to solve the things, because maybe everything wouldn't be solved tomorrow, but in 5 years it could be better.
Time heals all wounds.
But only if you work.
Only if you work towards it.
And the fighting and the dispute, just like you said with Trump, that happened in America, that keeps everybody in a discussion about idiotic things that are not very important for the future of the country. Instead of focusing on the very problems that we have for the future, you know?
There's a lot of things that you can touch on, and I think from a political perspective you see it a lot in other countries as well, where the minute you see some panic in the powers that be, you know, prime minister, the president, etc., once they start to lose a grip on the public, they create a divide. And through what do they create a divide? On things that are somewhat superficial. For instance, in everyday people's lives. For instance, in the US, the right-wing government under Trump started making a lot of hoopla about abortion, LGBTQ rights, trans rights, stuff like that, when it was more about economic reform, foreign policy, housing, education, things that affect everyone across the board.
And
so I see the same thing happening here.
Yeah, exactly. I always say that we import the idiotism from America. But what I'm saying, Bibi Netanyahu was a very big opportunity for Israel. It's a missed opportunity for Israel. You know?
I agree. There was a time I was with him and I understood the needs, but I feel that he's missed that opportunity, he's slipped up.
Exactly.
And he needs to own up to his inactions.
Yes, exactly. He needs to own up to the impotence, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that the focus on the stupid things, like you said, that's exactly what's preventing what prevents the very dialogue that we need, that focuses on the common grounds between everybody in Israel, instead of the stupid things that's like, you know, Ilat HaSvirut. I don't understand Ilat HaSvirut, you know what I mean? But I do understand that 400,000 missiles around Israel is not good in the hands of Iran. Okay? I understand that being in a traffic jam for 2 hours every day is not good for the economy.
That's not.
Okay? I understand
the high-tech inflation in Tel Aviv also, with the amount of pricing and housing.
High-tech inflation is a natural thing that you cannot really prevent. I wouldn't give Netanyahu, you know, criticism about those things, because
I'm not pointing just towards Netanyahu.
No, anybody, because it's a natural thing that occurs, you know, around every 10 years. And inflation, deflation, and in the general run, it grows. Okay, so this is okay. There will always be economic crisis, and there will always be economic collapse. And every time you collapse, a little higher from the last collapse. So it's in the general
forward, 1 step back.
Exactly. But it's natural. It's been occurring for hundreds of years, by the way.
That's true. However, the adjustment for wages and housing has been unproportional almost on a global scale since the last time it's happened.
Yeah, you know, I always say there's a very simple solution that we can apply to the housing prices.
Yeah.
You know what is agricultural land?
כן.
So, according to my understanding, Israel is the only country where there is land that you are only allowed to perform agriculture in. Meaning I have this land and I'm not allowed to build houses or office in these places.
Right. יש גם כאלה בארצות הברית.
You are not allowed to build in there?
It's segmented federal agriculture, so it's government-owned property that's only purpose is for agriculture.
Okay, this is a very big problem in the US too, if this is the case, because you cannot tell someone who owns the land what to do with the land. It's his land. If I'm not talented in agriculture, or even if I don't like agriculture, okay, I'm not supposed to deal with agriculture. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just allow them to do whatever they want. If they want to be farmers, okay, they be farmers. If they want to build office buildings,
Yeah.
give them to build office buildings. Let them build office buildings.
I agree.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you want to go back to the original point? I think we strayed a little bit.
Okay. No, this is what the idea of these conversations. But sure. Okay.
So, you mentioned the analogy of ripping off the gauze, ripping off the band-aid, applying the gauze, cleaning it out. What do you see that process going specifically?
So now we go to the other chapter of what I'm doing, שיח של אחדות. Okay. In שיח של אחדות, what I'm doing, I also tell the right wing how the left feels, and I tell the left wing how the right wing feels.
Yes.
הכל טוב, תעברו, מה יש לכם? תעברו, בסדר. How the left feels.
Yeah.
So now I tell you for a minute how the right wing feels about this. When they see, huge billboards of Netanyahu in the image of Pharaoh from Egypt. When they hear Bibi Chow, Bibi Chow, Bibi Chow, Chow, Chow. When we call them parasites to the Hasidic Jews, when we call them parasites.
That can't feel good at all.
When we tell them after they believe, and with a great amount of justice they believe, that there should be a change of the judiciary system, okay? And you tell them you are stupid, not you, but in general. We tell them that they are stupid and they don't understand it and they want dictatorship, and that they don't have the education required to understand, okay? And everything.
Well, there's a lot of issues with that because on any one side of any political stance, the opposing side is only going to pay attention to the worst of what is being said on one side.
So what I'm doing, no, wait a second. What I'm doing is trying to have a proper discussion regarding the painful issues, okay? And also, I would like to tell you, if I was the leader of this demonstration, I would invite Netanyahu, Rotman, and Yariv Levin to this stage to have a conversation about the future of Israel, to have a conversation about the way the judiciary system should function, to have a proper discussion about the future of our society. And since nobody is doing that, the other side feels that we do not wish to talk to them. We wish to just tramp them down, you know, and then we stop them in the traffic. And we scream democratia, democratia, and we have no actual argument. There is no argument in here. And I always say, you have 500,000 fighters and they have no ammo. You know what I mean? Because they don't have argument. This is the problem with this demonstration. I think it's superficial. I think it's not intelligent. And I think these things, they tear down the people just like the politicians do. You know what I mean? And when we always blame the other side, of that we do, it's hypocritical, and it makes them go into their trenches even further. You know what I mean?
I see your sentiment, yeah. I see your sentiment. The problem is, how are you going to allow so many people to voice their arguments, voice their opinions all at once? When you create something like this...
I always say, if you are not educated enough,
yeah.
then don't participate in the political game.
That
Don't
makes
say
sense.
anything. If you are not educated enough, if you believe that the supporters of Netanyahu are not capable of being persuaded, then you shouldn't be talking to them. You know what I mean?
They are also capable of voting, and they are also citizens.
Yeah,
so they also have an equal
but
say.
if you believe that they are not capable of being persuaded, then from the very starting point, you are going to talk to them in a manner that will put them into their trenches even further. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
The very vibe of talking would be such as this.
Yeah. This is of course all reactionary. You understand?
Exactly. This is I call this the antagonistic reality. The antagonistic reality is that half of the country is voting against Netanyahu, and the other half is voting against the left. And nobody's voting for something. And what I'm saying, instead of talking about bullshit like the Ilat HaSvirut, let's talk about the terror, the high prices, the traffic, the education.
Interests.
Yeah, exactly. The common ground, which is much higher than the not common ground. Much more important than the not common ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the most important things because it's the very daily lives. He was talking before about the Hezbollah tent inside Israel. You know, there are terrorists inside Israel, everybody knows about them, and Netanyahu does nothing because he's weak. And instead of talking about this, all of these people are talking about Ilat HaSvirut. This is the superficiality of the left. You know, and the left, while being superficial, while not being able to have a proper conversation, while screaming "Busha, Busha, Busha" whenever Simcha Rotman is talking, you know, instead of actually replying to the arguments, they even call themselves the smarter ones and the more educated ones, and you know,
סבב, סבירות.
לא, הכל טוב. שמתי לך רגל. כן, בסדר. קשה להפיל אותי. And that's what I'm saying. Instead of, first of all, if those people do not have the wisdom of facing Netanyahu's supporters in an argument, then they shouldn't be playing the democratic game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just shut up.
I would argue, however distasteful it may be, and sometimes people see it as a waste, it is an aspect of the democratic process.
Yeah, they have the
unofficially, but it's still
they have the right to do this. I do not think they have the right to block the roads, okay, to make traffic jams. But I do believe they have the right to demonstrate.
Yeah.
But if you demonstrate, think before you act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, Jonathan. It was nice talking to you.
היה נעים להכיר אותך.
גם אותך.
בהצלחה עם זה.
תודה רבה.